This is absolutely wild. When's the last time you walked through a bookstore? Came up to grab a book here at Barnes & Nobles, man. I usually buy my stuff on Amazon, but it's crazy. Like, think about this. So there's 10,000 plus books in here, right? That's 10,000 authors, 10,000 stories, 10,000, lifetimes of lessons learned that you can learn from. Why I'm crazy about books and the asset of a book. Take this right here, for example, this book right here, okay? This author, Sophie and Kale, they're not here with me in this bookstore, but their life is, their story is, right? Their lessons learned, the things that they've been through in life, experiences, successes, failures, strategies, tips, the way that they educate. So I could sit down and I could read one of their books in my reading chair at home and learn from them. That's why I'm so crazy about writing a book. Is it because of an asset that you can send to somebody? I got a text yesterday morning, and a guy's reading my new book. My new book's called Scale, 8 Phases to Building an 8-Figure Business. And it's how I built an 8-figure real estate business. And we generated 8 figures of revenue. And I'm proud of that. And it's my life's work. And in the book, I walk through from start to finish on how we did it and how I would teach my younger self to do it. Book for business owners. And he texts me. He goes, dude, I just tried this idea. I made 15 grand. I wasn't in his living room. He reads in the morning. He was reading at 6:30 in the morning over a cup of coffee for his kids, ran out to school. And he was able to learn from my story as an asset. And I just thought it was cool walking through here today. So if you have a story to share, share it. If you have lessons to share, good and bad, share it. Somebody out there needs to hear your story and your lessons, and that's how you make an impact in this world. So anyway, I thought this would be a fun little video to share with you the power of writing books. This is going to blow you away. I made over $1 million on my first book, and I've sold 0 copies of it. Kid on Amazon, little sales guy, was like, hey man, I saw your book on Amazon. I can help you promote that. You have 0 sales. I said, no man, I actually have 100 high-ticket sales and over $1 million of revenue. So what we teach, cool little strategy for you, I'll pop up here, is let's say you have your dream client, right? Like a dream client that you want to work with. For me, it was real estate. I'll use this as an example. If a homeowner, somebody wants to sell their home, thought about selling their property, they would call into the office or they would give us their home address to tell them what their property was worth. And then what we did was this. We would take my book, for example, and we would mail it to them to their doorstep. Cost me $5 to get the book printed, another $5 to $6 to mail it, so $12, $11, $12 all in, and we would mail it to their doorstep before I met with them. And this is what made this strategy so big. So I've sold 0 copies of it. So what we did was we wanted to remove the barrier to entry and let somebody get our book in their hands as fast as possible. So what happened? Well, what happened was my conversion rates doubled. Why? In my market of Phoenix, Arizona, there was 75,000 real estate agents that I was competing against. And when somebody would inquire to sell their property with me, they were inquiring to 3 other realtors. That was our stat. I was in it 15 years. I know my numbers pretty damn well, okay? And keep in mind, I was a decent realtor selling 200 homes per year. So they would interview me and 3 other realtors. And I was losing listings. I was losing deals to my competition. So we came up with an idea to mail them a book up front. They were more likely to meet with me. But what was really cool, I'll never forget, I was at a kitchen table one time, a cute little older husband and wife, and I started going into my process, and she stops me, she goes, Nick, I know. I read it, curb appeal, and she goes through the whole thing. Yeah, we want to talk about getting new carpet. And I had shared with her how I could help her market and sell her home in a book ahead of time. So she was able to read my story, read my lessons, hear some of my success stories as an asset. So that's how we actually turned a $100 or a $5 book into 100 closed sales and over $1 million of commission. So if you're looking for a fun little marketing strategy, think about this. I got a cool training for you. I'll drop the link somewhere around here, but it's very simple. It's bookwithnickyt.com. Book with Nicky T. I'm Nicky T. Write a book with. I got a whole 45-minute training that teaches you how. Let me just leave you with this. I do believe your story matters, and I believe people can learn from it. And look, here's all the business books. Isn't this crazy? Like all these business books right here. People's lives, people's stories, people's strategies that you can learn from. Isn't this neat? If you haven't thought about it yet, this is popping up in your newsfeed, you should write a book. Honestly, writing a book changed my life. Never thought in a million years I'd be speaking on stages and doing podcast interviews. I've had 5 requests for a podcast interview. This isn't about me. I'm just kind of giving you what happens. What's crazy is I got 5 people reaching out in my DMs in the past 2 weeks for me to be on their podcast. Same dude I was 2 months ago. Same concept, same teaching. No podcast interviews then, but because I wrote the book, I'm on this book tour now, booking speeches and getting podcast appearances because of my book, because it's an asset that people can share and have me on their show. So if you're looking for a new marketing strategy or a new goal to take on, write a book, dude. Changed my life. It'll change yours too. And check this out. I bet you it's changed all of these authors' lives. Like, let me just leave you with this. Like, what would that be like to sit here holding a copy of your book? Crazy, right? Write a book. It's a game changer.